How's it going? If you're like me, you spend some of your time looking for investment opportunities, and sometimes you find titles that seem very clickbaity and you don't want to click on it, but you end up doing it anyway. That's how I ran into a title of a video called "You Have to Sell Your Shares." Original research. The video is by a gentleman named Sebastian St. James. I don't know a lot about him, but he made a very interesting video. Please check out his full video before you watch mine. Link is below. His video is about reasons why you will need to sell your stocks at some point. He makes some great points and starts to talk about some great 90s staples such as Toys R Us. If you're above 20, you most likely know about Toys R Us. It was an amazing place to get the latest toys, video games, and music. But if you know anything past that, you would know they went out of business. Eventually they came back, but nowhere near as big as they were. With everything online and Amazon being as big as it is, I don't think they can come back. Similar to watching a crypto stock fall overnight, stocks that you have held your entire life can drop to nothing, and there goes your savings with it. Look at this example from Sebastian St. James. The example shown isn't from the USA Toys R Us. But this example, you can understand the fears that could happen. The stock price can fluctuate greatly over a few decades. Here is a random example I made for XYZ stock. Assuming the stock was $50 a share and you bought 10 of them a year, this is what can happen. That would be $500 a year. By year 5 you would have spent $2,500 and you would have 50 shares. You can easily see this by multiplying the amount by the shares, and you can see 50 shares at $50 is $2,500. Same for 10 years and 15 and so on. At 20, I would say you hit a milestone, you would have put $10,000 into this stock. That's a pretty cool thing to accomplish. In this scenario, when it's all said and done, you would have dropped $15,000 into your account and can use it as a kind of saving. You would also have 300 shares to your name. Now, similar to the Toy R Us example, 30 years is a long time for a stock to remain at its current levels. What happens if this drops to 10? Your $15,000 value drops to $3,000. If you had all your saving in this stock, you would have to potentially go back to work or not retire as early as you originally wanted. So I would say Sebastian has a real point in what he was saying. The same is true in the event you want to live off dividends. Stocks don't have to continue to provide dividends and can stop at any moment. That being said, I wanted to take a deeper dive into the top 10 approach that was talked about. This here is a list of the top 10 companies according to Sebastian. I am not sure how he qualified the list, but I know he didn't stick solely to the USA, and he mentions in the video multiple times that some options are outside the US. The basically works his way backwards through the year, highlighting when new companies enter the list and when some fall off. I found this a little odd. Since he was going in reverse, when a new company would appear, it really meant that was the last time that company was in the top 10. If you watched his video as I am recommended, you would know that his point holds mostly true. Other than Microsoft, pretty much every company seems to fall off the list within 5 years of when they appear. It really makes you wonder, will Facebook, Meta, be the next victim, or will Google be replaced by Bing thanks to ChatGPT, and will they fall off the list? No one knows, but I wanted to take a deeper dive into this 90s list. It is true that these companies are not in the top 10 anymore, but if you had banked on them, would you be okay? Maybe some are top 50, maybe top 10-50, but if the stock price has stayed around the same ballpark, maybe they would have been okay to keep long term. Let's start with number 10, IBM. Once a household name for computing technology, IBM has been surpassed by others in this space, but back in '93, it was hard to find someone that didn't know them. Okay, so to illustrate this, I will use the portfolio visualizer. It's a cool tool to see what could have been. In this scenario, we started with $10,000 and then left it alone. We reinvested dividends from 1993 to 2023. 30 years, baby. As you can see, we actually would have made quite a bit of money. You can even compare it to the Vanguard 500 and see we outpaced it. That being said, as you look at this last chart, the heydays appear to be gone and you're almost tracking as many bad years as good years from 2013 on. That being said, you would still be up from your original investment. If I was this person, not financial advice, but I would say it's time to diversify immediately. Alright, that's enough on IBM. Let's see who's next. I don't see NTT, so moving on to Royal Dutch Shell. After doing some quick Google searches, that appears to be the Shell Gas Station Corporation. I used to see those on every corner back in the day. Today's I see a lot more BP, Wawas, Buc-ee's, basically anything but let's see how the stocks would have played out. Now, I had some trouble with Shell, in part because of the name changes and in part because this information is so old, but assuming this is right. This is what I found. According to the Shell website, back in February 1993, under Royal Dutch Petroleum, their price was 27 cents to $1.18. After looking at my video again, I see it was at the low end of that. Once again, assuming this is true, I think this is another winner. Just based on the difference in price. February 16th, 2023, the price is above $60. So it's not hard to see how this would have been a winner if you bought it 30 years ago. The portfolio visualizer has limited info, but it seems to pick up in 2006, and we can see how that would have played out if only for 20 years. I left on the same info as before. $10,000 reinvesting, and even left on IBM numbers during that same time, so we can see how that would have looked without those crazy early gains. This picture tells a much different story from the original. If you had Shell from 2006 on, it doesn't look like it was able to compete with IBM or the Vanguard fund over that same time. IBM beat them by a whole percent and the Vanguard 500 beat them both by 3%. It's cool to see how 1 to 3% can drastically change ending results. Now, who's next? This video's getting a bit long for my taste, so let's jump to number 1. Let's see how GE did. This is the chart for GE, aka General Electric. This looks like another winner for me. It's nowhere near its highs around 2000, but it's still triple to quadruple the price you would have gotten it in 1993. The stock market and crypto are really down and real estate seems to be following, so it's hard to tell if these stocks could rebound and go back to their tops. Some are bound to fall on their faces. Let's see what the visualizer says about GE. I left the same info as for the other two, but I removed Shell as it was limiting us to 2006 and I want the full 30-year story. Surprising to me is the fact that GE fell so far under IBM, but it goes to show that the IT industry normally tracks better than all the others. It's the first to rebound and last to fall. At the end of the day, you still would have made money, but very little in comparison. Thank you for watching my video. If you want to play around with this yourself, check out the visualizer for free. I don't own it, and get nothing if you try it out. One important thing to note, these numbers could have changed drastically if you, for example, kept the dividends or perhaps if you add $20 bi-weekly. This is a great tool to help you strategize about the future by studying the past. I will put the link below. If you're still here, please subscribe and put a comment for me. Let's go with your favorite stock to hold for 30 years. Thanks again. I want to give a special shout out to Sebastian for his video. This is the first time I have tried to react someone video, and I hope I did you proud. You got me thinking, and I think that was the real goal of your video.